She wanted everything to be perfect. The sound, the routines, the look. She wanted to be the queen.
I'm sitting down with Brenda Franklin Corbett, who spent decades inside Aretha Franklin's touring world and carries memories of that era that no biography has fully captured. So at what point in your life did you move into the Franklin home, Aretha's home?
I was just about born in there. My uncle and my mother, my grandmother lived on Boston. And when I was born, I was taken to that house, and Aretha, Carolyn, Erma, Cecil became my sisters and my brother. So I was born in that house, yeah.
What side of the city was that house on?
It is on the east side of the city on Oakland and East Grand Boulevard, yes.
Do you have any memories of being young and going to the new Bethel Church?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
What was it like at that time with C.L. Franklin preaching?
It was amazing. It was full of energy. We had the choir stand was full. The church would be full on Sunday morning, Sunday night. It was an experience for me as a kid. And they had a children's choir, but I didn't want to sing in the children's choir. I wanted to sing with the grown folks. So they allowed me to sing with them, which was different. Yes, I had my own little robe and I had a little chair that I would sit in, and they would let me sing with them.
How old were you singing with the grown folks?
I had to be about, I want to say maybe 6, 7 years old. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I had a picture of me sitting with, the choir in the choir stand, but there was a flood in my house and it was destroyed, which made my heart hurt.
What was it like when, at some point, that the Reverend Franklin became such a figure that it seemed like the house itself was a hub for people just coming through?
Yes.
Who were some of the folks who would just breeze through the house?
Oh, I remember B.B. King, Cab Calloway, Mahalia Jackson, Shirley Caesar, the Caravans.
Yeah.
I don't think at that time Dr. King was at the house on the Boulevard. He was coming to the house on LaSalle when I first remember and met him. Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, you were so young, but were you aware that this was not a normal thing that most young people were living through?
No, I wasn't aware because I thought that's what it was.
Yeah.
Growing up and being in that house and seeing all the people that came through there, I thought that's what it was supposed to be, until I got older and realized, okay, they famous. They got all these famous people coming. Yeah, they got something going on. So yeah.
When the Gospel Caravan tour started to happen, that kind of thing, were you going on the road with that? Was the Gospel tour?
I went every day, every now and then. My uncle would take me.
What was that like? It seems like it was an incredible experience.
It was something that I never thought that I would be in, but it was fun to me, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed, being on the stage. I think at one time we were in Houston, Texas, and he let me sing a solo.
What'd you sing? You remember?
I can't remember. I just remember doing it,
Yeah.
and being there. And my uncle, he was how can I put it, a lifter-upper. He would, even though I wasn't singing professionally along with Aretha at that time, but at church, he would have me to come up, come on, Brenda, I want you to sing. I would sing my solo.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What was Aretha like kind of before, as a child, as a young person, before the world got to know her as Aretha? She was undoubtedly, striving for that, and I'm sure singing, but who was she as a person before the world knew her?
She was quiet. She was very quiet, and she kept into her music. At one time I was just telling Alex that we were all singing, around the piano in my uncle's living room. And I was standing up there singing along with him. And she told me, "You need to shut up because you can't sing." I said, "I can't?" And she said, "No, you can't sing." Hurt my feelings. I started crying. But then I started singing with Carolyn when I first, started on the road and going into the recording studios and things. Carolyn put a little group together and she was recording with RCA. And we all went to New York and everything. So when Aretha finally figured out that I could sing, after a while, when Carolyn started going to school, she was going, to college to get her musical degree. She asked us would we sing with her. I told her, yeah, I don't care. I love it. Yeah. So that's how we came together, because she told me I could not sing.
How did you tune your voice? I mean, you surely could sing back then, even when you said you couldn't sing.
Yeah.
How did you shape your voice and get it to the point where it was?
Singing in the church choir. We had a director, her name was Lucille Lemons. She was amazing. She, would give me songs to sing, and I'm thinking that I was singing my note, thinking that I was an alto singer. She says, "No, you sing soprano." So she started teaching me, my note, that soprano note. And I'm talking about, I can't sing that. Oh, yes, you can. And you are going to do it. So that's how I, developed being a first soprano instead of an alto.
This is like a great story, because I'm thinking a lot about the church pipeline.
Yeah.
In Detroit. We hear a lot about it in the South in the 50s and 60s and before that too. But in Detroit, there's also such a rich pipeline of singers who come out of the church.
Yes.
In a very specific kind of way, a real rigorous work ethic that comes out of the church. What is that like here, and what is that about?
It's still going on. It's still going on right today in the church. I love it. My thing is the music in the church. We had some dynamic musicians and singers come out of this city. My main one was Miss Lemons and Thomas H. Shelby, who was the minister of music at New Bethel with my uncle. Mr. Shelby taught me a lot also, because he was more into classical. He really developed my voice as singing a first soprano. He taught me a lot along with Miss Lemon, and I kind of think coming out of New Bethel, Thomas H. Shelby was known all over Detroit, and he got plenty of praise. So he was a good starter for me as a singer in the church, and which developed me on to being with Carolyn and Aretha.
So when Aretha's around 18, she decides to move to New York, kind of has the conversations, well, I want to make pop music, I want to make popular music, I'm going to go to New York. What was that? And you went with her, right, eventually?
Well, when she first went to New York, no, because I was still singing with Carolyn.
Right.
But then after we started getting together, I went to New York, I stayed with her, was in the studio with her, and again, learned a lot.
What was that time like around her making that decision? Was she sad to leave? Was it kind of hard to uproot, or was she so focused on the dream that it didn't?
She was focused on the dream because that's where God wanted her to be. And she really got into it, you know, singing. I think that when she went to Columbia singing more jazz than gospel and R&B, and she wasn't really fully getting her program out. And she lasted for a little while, but she wasn't real thrilled because she had more in her than they wanted her to do. But it made a change when she went to Atlantic Records. And that was the amazing project that we ever did before. I loved Atlantic Records. The people at Atlantic were so sweet and so nice to us, you know. They made you want to do what you had to do.
Yeah. I was thinking last night, I mean, I love Aretha's voice throughout her whole career, but there's a stretch from like 1967 to 1972 where it feels like, you know, those records, like Spirit in the Dark is one of my favorite albums in history, you know. And not just the studio stuff, the live stuff, the Fillmore record,
definitely,
the Paris record, Amazing Grace. It's just a lot of brilliance, just back to back in a really small window of time. What was her work ethic like around that era?
Off and on.
Yeah.
You know, you had to know her, you know, to deal with some of the ons and offs. But I had her. It was fun. To me, I loved it. I loved being on the road with her. I had so much not knowing to give, which she was bringing out of me. And a couple of the other girls that sung, like Margaret Branch and Pat Smith, she brought the stuff out of us that we didn't even know we had, which was amazing. And it gave you that thrill of being out there with her. And I said, thank God, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. I love thinking about and talking about background singers, specifically because I don't think they often get a lot of credit, but there's a real craft and discipline to that. And what I love about Aretha's relationship with her background singers, like on records, is that there's this real harmony, but it also feels like the background singers are in their own world, building a sound of their own. What was it like to get that discipline down?
Sometimes it was kind of hard, but she would pull stuff out, like I said, that we didn't even know that we had, you know. She would rehearse with us, which was a great thing. No, you can't do that. You got to do it like this. Don't you hear that? But she taught us a lot. It was amazing. It was amazing. And I didn't even know that she had it all in her. I'm talking about, oh, this girl has really got it going on.
Yeah.
But working with her was, oh God, how can I put it? Working with Aretha was something different. And you had to know her in order to know what to do and how to do it. And she would bring it out and you didn't even know that you had it in you. But I really loved traveling with her and doing different projects, you know, like the Blues Brothers. That was amazing. And whatever she wanted. Yeah, we were there.
There's you know, it feels like family is such an important part, because you talk about, you know, with Aretha, you had to know her. You had to, and also it feels like there's like the orbit of family and loving people like family is really important to the whole Franklin story. And not just, you know, cousins and siblings, but also the way that Mahalia Jackson was in the world of the family. And
the Staples singers.
The Staples, like all of these people who became almost like extended family. How important was it to think about family as something outside of just the immediacy of family and think about it as a kind of musical ecosystem you could build?
I think it was important to her, you know, to have her family around her and doing these different projects. Like her brother was her manager.
Right.
She had me and Carolyn, even her boys. She recorded them, and she has one granddaughter that she recorded before she got sick. So family was really, really, really important to her. That's why she was kind of private, and she just wanted to keep us around her always.
I like to think about this idea of how hard it was to kind of, or maybe not hard, but what was it like to live up to or be kind of, was it hard work to kind of keep up with Aretha as a singer? Or would she kind of push you all in a way? I'm mostly like looking for stories of being on the road or being in the studio, if you have any.
Yeah, it was both. It was kind of hard, and she would, sometimes kind of be disciplined, She would get angry. She would tell, I don't need you anymore. I don't want you to do this. But after a while, she would call like nothing happened. So that kind of told me she's really, caring. She was caring. And she wanted her stuff to be almost perfect.
Right.
You got to rehearse. You got to do this. You got to do that. Thing is, she wanted us to dance. I remember we were doing a show, and she wanted us to have this dance routine. I said, Aretha, I am not a dancer. You can do it. I said, no, I'm not a dancer. I got 2 left feet. She said, no, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. So I ended up doing it. In fact, I was telling Alex about this video that I seen on Facebook where we were doing the midnight special. Remember that?
I do.
Midnight special. And we were doing a routine. I'm talking about, I did that. But she wanted everything to be perfect. The sound, the routines, the look. She wanted to be the queen. And that's what we tried to give her, making it perfect for her.
What year did she move to Los Angeles?
I'm not really sure about the year. I can't remember. I know it was, like in the 80s?
Yeah, this is I think early 80s.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. Yeah.
And you went out there for a while.
I went out with her, at that time, I was singing with her off and on, but she really brought me out there to help her take care of her kids. I went out to be with her baby, Kilf, to send him to school and stuff like that. She also had another person that helped her with the kids, Norman Duggar. He's no longer with us. But I went out there and stayed with her for, I want to say maybe 6-7 months, and helped her to get everything all situated as far as the house was concerned, as far as the kids were concerned. And I would go out on the road with her when she needed me at the time. But then after that, it came consistent. Yeah.
Right. I love that story because it speaks so well to what you're talking about in terms of keeping the family close,
Right.
where it's like, yes, you were singing with her, but the more important thing at that moment was to kind of be a caretaker.
Yeah.
Did you get a lot of joy out of balancing those roles back then?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I really did. Whatever Aretha wanted, and if I could do it, it was no problem for me because I don't know, again, she was more like a sister, and this is what I was getting the feeling, to be there for my sister. And whatever she wanted me to do, I tried my best to do it.
Yeah. Did it ever feel, some of what I've been thinking through is the necessity for artists to be on the road. Like when we're talking to a lot of, for example, Detroit techno artists who in the 80s and 90s had to go all over the world. And Aretha was someone who, for much of her life, the center of her life, was such a big artist that she almost had to be on the road so much. Did Detroit ever not feel like home for Aretha, for you even?
Detroit always felt like home to Aretha. And it felt like that to me because I was born here. And this is where, you know, we got our roots. So yeah, she loved Detroit. And Detroit has shown her a lot. You know, they always, even the shows that we would do here at the Fox Theater, the music hall, they were all packed because they knew that Aretha was going to show out. And that's what she did when we would come and work. I love working in Detroit. Yeah.
What kind of differences culturally and in personality did you sense, particularly in LA? Like, I think about the difference between, I'm also a Midwesterner, and I think about the difference between where I'm from in Los Angeles and the culture and the people. And one of the people I interviewed for this was Barry Gordy's son. And he was also, you know, he's out in LA now, and he's talking about the differences between Detroit and Los Angeles and the people and the way the city moves. Were you struck by any of that?
A little bit. I think between the two, we got more love from Detroit than we did from Los Angeles. But the people in Los Angeles were really, really nice to us when she was living there. She would do shows there. It would be the same. You know, they would be packed and the different stars would come, which was amazing to me. I'm talking about, oh, look, there's Halle Berry, you know, Martin Lawrence, and people like that. They would come to her shows. Angela Bassett, we became friends when we were there, and it was kind of different, but we got more love from Detroit than it did, you know, I guess because she wasn't from Los Angeles. Yeah. So, but wherever Aretha went was amazing. Amazing.
You talked about how singing is still very much happening in the church now, of course, right?
Yes.
It's never gonna, I feel like that is never gonna not happen as long as there's churches and people.
Right.
But is there, if you do have a pulse or a sense of this, do you feel like there are singers coming out of the church now who can have the same or similar kind of success? You know, a lot of what I'm thinking about when doing this series is the future of Detroit music. And, you know, the future of gospel is something that intrigues me because it is a form that is very old and very storied, and some of our great singers have come from it. And I'm wondering what you see as someone who still sings gospel, still, you know, do you see a pathway for people to be able to make it out of the church and become big singers as they used to?
Yeah.
Or is the pipeline different now?
It's a little different than it was back in the 80s and the 90s than it is right now. But I see artists coming out of the church as a gift, you know, to the ones that want to endure getting into the gospel realm, like the Clark sisters. We got Marvin Sapp,
Of course.
Marvin Winans, you know, they are teachers, you know, to the young people that's coming out now that would want to be into the gospel music. They are teaching them something that they've never seen before. And they're giving them this gift of elevating themselves to reach that point that they want to be at. I appreciate them, you know, for still hanging in there, because it's not easy as it was when we were singing back in the 80s and 90s. It's kind of hard out there right now, but they're still hanging in there and showing the young people that want to be in gospel, they're giving them a gift. And I think this is what they need.
I'm a big fan of your voice. I love your voice, and I don't know if people are as, I just love the way you sing, particularly the way you sing gospel music. But you're also someone who's massively important when it comes to helping maintain Aretha's legacy. The role you played in Respect, the film, for example, that film would not get made, not only without your blessing, but your real guidance, like your actual guidance. What responsibility do you feel to maintaining Aretha's legacy, and the amount of work what kind of work goes into maintaining a legacy that large? And it's a big legacy to uphold. And I know you're not doing it just on your own, but you play a very big role in it.
My legacy, to keep Aretha's legacy out there, is what we're doing right now. Anything that's pertaining to her, I don't have a problem with doing it. Ask and it shall be given. Because I appreciate people like you and the church and other people keeping her name out there, keeping her face out there, keeping her music out there. That's amazing, because we've had lots of entertainers that are gone on. Nobody even speak about. All the years that Luther's been gone, they're just now bringing it out. I'm talking about, this is crazy.
Yeah.
As amazing. And he was such a good person. He was a really nice guy. We enjoyed being around him. We enjoyed going to his shows, being in the studio with him. And you wait all these years, to bring him out and let everybody know all of the things that he have done that you didn't know about. I was so glad when his best friend, Fonzie, started telling me, he said, Brenda, we're getting ready to do something. I said, oh my God, this is about time. Because back in the day, even before Luther passed, I was on my way home and this thing came on the radio talking about Luther had passed away, but he wasn't. And I just had to pull over to the side because I thought it was true. I said, oh no, not my buddy. I had to pull over and cry. Then by the time I got home, I said, that was false.
False, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. But for all the years that he has been gone, in the last couple of years, they starting to recognize it. That should have been a long time ago. They should have done that right after he passed, because Luther was a good friend, and he could sing to me all day long.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him.
Yeah.
I enjoyed him. I still miss him. I think about him. I'm still in touch with Fonzie, because Fonzie sung background with us also.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
After Luther passed, Aretha asked him, would he come and sing with us? And I think he was with us for about 5 years. Yeah. And he is such a good guy, such a friendly guy, such a caring guy. We really got along great. Yeah.
Yeah, what I love about, of course, it's devastating when we lost Aretha, but I do think about, you just mentioned this with Luther, but it's a lot of artists where they pass and there's almost like a gap between, there's the immediacy of the moment, and then there's almost a gap before we start.
Right. Yeah.
Some gap, then that gap is larger for some than others.
Yeah.
With Aretha, it's kind of like there's been this beautiful, steady sense of return.
Right.
So that she's never really too far from our memory.
Yeah. And that's what I appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really appreciate them keeping her name, her legacy alive. And it's so appreciated with the family also. We love it.
Yeah, like one of my favorite memories, the day of the funeral aired on TV and all that.
Yeah.
And I remember I started watching it in the morning, and I had a flight that day. And I was like, oh, I was, it was like early afternoon. I was like, I'm going to turn the funeral off. I'm going to miss it. And I landed 3 hours later, it was still going on.
Yeah.
It wasn't even halfway finished. It felt like it wasn't
Right.
even halfway finished. And what I loved about that was that people didn't want to people didn't want to leave. They didn't want to let her go.
Right.
You know, when it comes to being someone who is just in the orbit of a legacy that massive, what are you most proud of? What are you most proud of having given, and what are you most proud of that you can still give?
I'm proud of all of it. I'm proud that I'm her cousin, her sister. I'm just proud that God put me in this position to be in this family. Anything that Aretha does, I'm proud of. Anything that Carolyn did, I was proud of. They're getting ready to do a biopic on Carolyn.
Really?
And Erma, which I think it'll be out sometime this year. I'm proud of that because Carolyn was a dynamic writer. That girl could write.
Incredible
She could
writer.
write. She could write songs. But I kind of felt that she could have been lifted up a little higher, but you never know what's going on behind the scenes, and you never know what's on people's minds as far as other entertainers are concerned. But Carolyn and Erma have been gone for a while, and I appreciate that eventually they're doing something to show that Aretha was not just the only gifted person, that she had two sisters that were gifted. I appreciate that.
I love Carolyn's writing.
Yes.
Love the writing.
Yes.
Can I ask two more selfish questions just for me? What is your favorite song that you sung on with Aretha?
Well, of course, Ain't No Way.
Ain't No Way. I was going to ask you Ain't No Way because that is, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because I didn't think I could do that note like Sissy.
Right.
I do that. I'm talking about Aretha. I can't. She said, yes, you can. I said, I don't think I. She said, come on, Brenda, we ain't got time to play. She said, you can do it. Come on, we're going to do it. And I did. And that was my first favorite song. The other one was Carolyn's Ain't No Way. I mean, Gotta Find Me an Angel. Yeah. I love that song. But the other one is the one that Aretha did on the Whitney Houston, Waiting to Exhale.
Oh,
Hurt so bad.
It's so bad.
Oh my God. Yes, that was. But mostly all her songs were good to me, but those three stood out.
Yeah. Ain't No Way is such an impressive vocal performance.
Yes.
It's such a distinct. That is the first song I heard where I could identify your voice. My family would play it, my dad would play it, and I was like, wow, that's such a unique and distinct note and vocal. So thank you for that.
That was Aretha.
Yeah.
That was Aretha. She brought it out.
Yeah. And this is, I'm sure you won't use this, but I love Mahalia Jackson.
Okay.
Do you have any Mahalia Jackson stories from back in the day?
You know what? I remember being around Mahalia when I was little. And the first time that I really, really spent some time with her, she did a concert at the church on Hastings. And I remember walking up to her and she just grabbed me and hugged me and just hugged me. And she sung that evening. She sung that evening, and then we later on went to the house, had dinner and everything, and she just kept her arms around me all while we were, she was so sweet.
Yeah.
She was a very sweet lady. And so was, oh my God, I can see her face. Ooh, she was at the recording with James Cleveland and Aretha.
Clara Ward.
Clara Ward. Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Miss Clara Ward.
Yes. I loved her too. Yeah. She would come sometime and cook dinner. Wow. She would come to the house and cook dinner, and we would stand around the piano singing and, come on, Brenda, you can do it. Come on. I had an amazing life.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, really, it's incredible to think that you lived in a house where that many people were just coming in and out.
Yes. It was fun.
It's beautiful. What was it like working with the Prima Donnas?
Friends. We were friends. All three of us was friends. It was myself, Margaret Branch, and Pat Smith. And I did not like that name. I don't know why Aretha called us the Prima Donnas. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I said, why are you naming us? Well, this is what I want to call y'all, the Prima Donnas. Okay. But we all got along together. We were like sisters, you know. But I don't know why I didn't like that name.
And she had names for all of her kind of eras of singers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All except for Sissy's.
Right, Sissy's group was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had their
They had
own
their own
name,
thing,
so
yeah.
she kept that.
Yeah, she did give a lot to Detroit.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah. She would, especially at the church,
Right.
you know, on holidays like Thanksgiving, when she had her gospel shows, she would feed, you know, everybody. They didn't have to pay. You know how sometimes they go in church and, okay, dinner is $5.
a plate, yeah.
She didn't do that. She bought all the food, whatever, you know, drinks, water, everything. She paid for it all. And especially at Thanksgiving for the homeless. She would send food to different places that they could come and pick up turkeys and dressing, whatever they needed for that holiday. She did that too.
And she was pretty private about that.
Yes.
She didn't make a scene about
No,
it.
she didn't. I mean, she was doing that from her heart. It wasn't to be seen. You know, she did that because this is what she felt that she should do. Because Detroit had been good to her. And she wanted to share what they had given her. She wanted to give some back.
Yeah.
So this is how she did it. And the concerts would be free, the gospel concerts. And she would have good gospel singers come, you know, John P. T. Key. I loved him, and he would come, and what is it, the spiritual, what is it? There's a gospel group. I can't remember. This is getting old. This is what getting old gives you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm blessed, and I thank God for it. Yeah. But we would have her gospel concerts would be packed, and it was always at New Bethel.
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't even find a place to sit, but it would all be free.
Yeah. Is New Bethel gone now?
Mm-mm.
It's still there?
It's
still standing?
there. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's still standing. Yeah, Reverend Smith is still there.
That is beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Growing up in the Franklin family, well, you know, when I was young, I didn't think it.
Yeah.
I'm here. But as I got older and began to realize what time it was, you know, I'm talking about, okay, this girl is really famous. Okay, my cousin is famous. It was amazing. I enjoyed it. Still enjoy it.
How old were you when you realized, like, at what age were you when you thought, oh, okay, wait, she's
I was
famous?
a teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in my teens when I realized what time it was. And the first time I met Dr. King, you know, from watching him on television, I thought, is this really Dr. King?
Yeah.
And my uncle had him over for dinner on that march that they had in Detroit. What was that, in 19 what? I was a teenager. I was about 19.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and the church was full. I mean, people were standing all outside. It was great. And I'm talking about, I get a chance to meet Dr. King. He was good. He was a nice guy. And I keep up with his family, you know, and his legacy that they do. And this is what I appreciate about what they're doing for Aretha. she's another Dr. King. Yeah. Yep. And I thank him for it.
Whoa, living for the city. Whoa, yeah, living for the city.